Hello, my friends. My name's Caleb, and back in 2022, I shared with you my life-changing story about having a major stroke when I was 24, and then my journey back into the dating scene, albeit with some difficulties around disclosure of my invisible disabilities. But there are many complexities to returning to life after a stroke that we didn't talk about then. Before my stroke, my dream was to make it to Broadway, and I was well on my way.
I don't know how I know, but I'm gonna find my purpose.
Since I was a kid, singing and performing was in my DNA. It's how I found my
I'm
voice.
gonna find my purpose. I've gotta find out. I don't wanna wait. I've got to make sure that my life will be great.
I felt so alive coming to a place like this, knowing deep in my soul that one day I'd be on stage living my purpose. And then, after the stroke, I started in a coma, laying in an ICU hospital bed for 5.5 weeks, with all sorts of high-tech machines supporting my life. Scared but reassured by the nurses and my support crew around me that I was going to be okay and eventually return to normal. 2.5 years of intense rehab followed, relearning to swallow, talk, walk, and eventually run. And all the while I wondered, how long is it going to be until I can return to my Broadway dreams and the vision that I had for my life?
Central nystagmus and diplopia on a vertical, horizontal and torsional axis. And vocal fold paralysis.
But I'm a singer.
You were a singer.
Everyone around me seemed to offer the same words of reassurance.
Don't worry, everything happens for a reason.
You've got this. You're so resilient.
Resilient. Able to recover quickly after something unpleasant such as an injury or a shock, or to return to its original shape after being stretched, bent or pressed. For example, he'll get over it. Young people are amazingly resilient. So being resilient became my goal. But eventually it was a hard act to keep up. So I developed a more nuanced practice for resilience, which I call reflect, reframe, reinvent. With the inpatient part of rehab coming to an end and my physical strength and general morale improving, I was so excited to begin my first steps towards independence by moving back in with my parents into my childhood bedroom. First on the menu was returning to eating solid foods, because at this stage I was still retraining my paralysed throat muscles and being fed through a tube directly into my stomach. Initially, I was restricted to swallowing 5 teaspoons of thin fluid a day. 2 months later, I progressed to a pureed diet. After several months, I moved up to minced, mashed and moist foods, before finally, after a long 6 months, I returned to eating solids. My thirst for independence became the driving force of my recovery journey, but my return to the road wasn't without some speed bumps. Like people's judgments about my use of accessible parking spots with no visible signs of disability was infuriating. Or when people mistake my balance issues for being drunk. No, I have a vestibular dysfunction. Thank you, Mr. Bouncer. But surely returning to work, this time on film sets, would feel better, right? I mean, how's a bit of double vision, zero depth perception and permanent vertigo gonna stop me? As long as I don't have to hold a boom pole or get myself up a ladder, I'm gonna be fine, right?
Action.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
Cut.
Now is the winter of our...
Cut. Cut.
Now is...
Confucius said, our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. And Chumbawamba said, I get knocked down, but I get up again. I thought living more independently with my parents would make me feel revitalized, but I felt like a dependent child, like a burden, and so I turned to the internet. Hello, my friends. My name's Caleb, but my friends call me Cal, and I am looking for fellow young stroke survivors.
My name is Megan.
My name's Ryan. My name is Frank.
My name's Emma G.
Connecting online was awesome, But as we spoke, I realised we were mostly bonding over our medical terms, labels and diagnoses.
Arterial venous malformation.
My left side paralyzed.
Paralysis down my right side.
I couldn't speak.
Couldn't walk.
Not much movement in my left hand.
But I felt something was missing. I wanted to talk about who we were, not just what we were struggling with. And maybe my new friends did too. We were stuck, symptom dwelling and not storytelling. And the way to get out of living an old story is to start writing yourself a new one. Hello, my friend. My name is Cal. I'm a stroke survivor. And this is Candid with Cal. Just when I thought it was all about scripts, singing out and getting applause, I realised I could get the same feeling of purpose and value by writing my own scripts, sharing real life stories, so people would see that I was not just a performer, I was a storyteller. And it was my vision, blurry and doubled, that would unite us.
Now I just know that if it's not itching, then I'm just not exercising a right part of my brain.
I've heard you rap. Can we do a rap?
And it's really easy to use when you've got only one hand.
They meant to be, it's a destiny, seeing our ability, going through therapy.
Although I couldn't belt out a Broadway tune or launch myself up ladders at film shoots, I still understood these things and I had my creativity. I just needed to reframe how I utilize my abilities to match my evolving self and the new vehicle that I was driving.
What's a real memorable moment of when, like, your relationship with a significant loved
Here I was, thinking my recovery journey was just about me, when in reality it was also about opening myself up to create space for many others, to connect with someone else who just gets it. It's been incredible to finally find my tribe and my new purpose, creating a platform for people who are navigating their return to life. But let's be real, the emotional hurdles are palpable. Returning to the gym, where my life changed, was the biggest hurdle. Just being there brought it all back up.
Cal, can you hear me?
The shock of what happened, the fear of what was to come.
Call an ambulance. And you listen.
What does the gym mean to me? Yes, it was the place where my life hung in the balance, but what else? It's a place of strength, self-advocacy, solidarity, community.
Oh, good.
And it was in this exposed, vulnerable state a seed was planted that I chose to transform this place of pain into a birthplace of perseverance. I've learned that resilience is more than just physical recovery. It's about self-discovery, finding meaning, and becoming who you can be, not returning to who you were. This journey isn't solo. It's intertwined with community. We fight for independence, but it's our interdependence that fuels our resilience. No matter what stage you're on or at in your healing journey, own it. Don't pressure yourself to be resilient. Commit to practicing resilience. They say everything happens for a reason. I believe everything happens and you reason with it.